Hey, everybody, it is Thursday night. That means it's time for Shop Talk with Haven Comics. I am your host, Josh Olive, the chief cook and bottle washer at Haven. And got a good night for you tonight. We've got some really cool things to talk about, so stick around. Guys, I just got a phone call that I have to take, so I'm going to kick you over to Alan real quick. Alan, hang on.
Fighting to save the day. He never gives up. He's always there. Fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe! G.I. Joe's there. G.I. Joe is the code name for America's death.
Y'all know y'all loved it. You know you loved every single minute of it. What's going on, everybody? What's funny is I can see like Josh where y'all can't see him and he's just sitting there just talking away on the phone. It happens, especially in our line of work. I've actually been fielding text messages for work for the past couple of minutes. So let's see what everybody's got going on. We got Tots. What's up, my brother? Glad you could join us tonight. Bill, we will be talking about that here in just a little bit. What's everybody got going on this week? I tell you what I got going on this week. I have got a healthy looking Storefolio. We'll get into that when Josh gets back. There will be a episode of the Pull List tomorrow. It is actually uploading now, so hopefully that'll go pretty well. I was trying to think. Oh, right off the bat, we do need to send our condolences to the Ramita family. John Ramita Sr. passed away. I believe that was yesterday that happened. Definitely a legend in the community. I mean, just a great all-around person. He will definitely be missed. So I'm kind of co-hostless. There's like somebody else lurking backstage, and part of me just wants to add them to the stream just to do it. But, you know, according to this, we've only got one person watching right now. So we'll hold off on that. I won't terrorize her. You know what we can do since Josh is doing that? Let's go. Mr. Posey, how you doing this evening? We will go check out League of Comic Geeks right quick, get logged in, and see if there's anything that really jumps out at us. Look, Josh is getting phone calls, and I'm getting over here getting text messages from work. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. The sinus infection is doing much better, by the way. I got to read comic books without being in a haze of sinus medication. Let's go ahead and share this screen right quick. Ha-bam. All right, we are on League of Comic Geeks. There's the profile. I've written a couple of reviews on there. Nothing massive, nothing major. Let's see what I have waiting on me up at the shop this week. So it looks like the bugs got Scooby-Doo. I got Gunslinger, Moon Knight, Vader, Void Rivals. Definitely going to be talking Void Rivals here in a little while. Let's see if there was anything else that come out this week that I might need to kind of jump on. What about y'all? What did y'all get excited about picking up this past week? Oh, I hate when they do the ads. Not really seeing anything that's jumping out at me right now other than, is anybody reading Something Epic? Kind of wondering how that's going. That was one of the, I mean, I could very easily get the first issue. That could be tracked down easily. I just don't know if I really want to pick up another title, especially since we've got new G.I. Joe titles out. Oh, Bill, please don't tell me that. Not the most useless character in Star Wars. That is one character that, look, here's my thing on the Star Wars books. They've introduced all these characters, and we know that the vast majority of these characters are going to end up dying. So why can't we just go ahead and start killing them off? If we're not going to kill them off, then let's send them to the outer rim somewhere, never to be seen again. That would be so much better, in my opinion. And that is definitely one of those characters. I don't think that book, and this is my personal opinion, if you like that book, great, so be it. If not, hey, welcome to my bandwagon. But that is one character in one book that I just don't feel like adds any true value to the entire Star Wars mythos.
Which one?
Dr. Aphra.
Hmm.
To me, it's kind of a useless character. I mean, it was great when they introduced her, kind of had a few things going on in the main title. But then after that, it was kind of, all right, whatever. She doesn't need her own dedicated book. I never understood the fascination with her. Yet,
who knows?
Film would survive if we send them to Chiss space. That would be awesome right there. I just kind of started talking to people, started pulling up League of Comic Geeks.
I thought you were going to pull up where they could get some awesome clothes like this shirt.
You know what? I can pull that up too. Let me stop sharing this screen so I can go log into this other one.
Look at that shirt.
Did you hear what I started the show with?
No, I'm sorry. I literally had to jump off to put a fire out.
A highly trained special mission force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
He never gives up. He'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe.
That is what I started with.
If you were going to try and capture the 80s in one song, I think that does it. It's that sort of G.I. Joe rock opera voice was there.
And the thing about it is every single person that is our age, when they hear that, they automatically picture Duke and them standing on top of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the shot.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. You are correct, sir. You having trouble pulling that up?
Yeah, I've also got like multiple downloads and uploads and everything else going. We're going to get there, though.
What?
Yep.
Well, we can wait for that and we can talk some comics because this is a good week for it.
Oh, let's do it. Let's talk some comics then. I'm all about that.
Let's talk some comics.
You want to get started? Or get started?
Go ahead and get started. Let's start with the. I guess let's start with the store folio.
Yeah,
Storefolio.
She was packed full this week. I almost did not get another book inside the store folio.
Storefolio.
Storefolio. Hey, when we do get the spread shop pulled up, don't forget your Shop Talk sticker.
Got to have one of those. Hey, and if anybody's looking for a store folio, we've still got one on the shelf at the store. You can get one just like his, and you can start putting stickers on it ASAP.
God,
take care of your comics from point A to point B in your store folio. He's a store folio for his bunghole.
You know what? This book right here, this one's going to the bottom of the stack because we need to talk about this one.
I'm going to guess. Let me do my that's going to be Daredevil number 12.
You might be correct. Right off the bat, let's go ahead and jump right into it with Fantastic Four, issue number 8. The case
that was a bizarre issue, but I really liked it.
Once again, I totally agree with you. It looked like this bizarre issue. It was okay. So this was my take on it. It was another fun issue. I love what North is doing. But when they left the hardware, when Alicia and Sue leaves the hardware store, and then the hardware store is actually closed and nobody's ever heard of the woman, the first thing that popped through my mind was, we've got a mystery to solve, Scooby. I don't know why, but that is literally, it just reminded me of Scooby-Doo there for just a minute.
That's completely legit.
I mean, it was, I really enjoyed it. For those of you, I mean, we're going to keep harping on this for those of you not reading Fantastic Four.
I'm not sure I understand that question. Hawkman number 4. Which run of Hawkman?
Yeah, there was a few of those.
There have been quite a few.
Let me get signed in there.
But yeah, Fantastic Four. Did you read the letters page on that, by the way?
No, I did not.
You ought to. It's a lot of people saying the exact same things that we're saying. This book is fun. Love the direction that it's going. Get rid of the mustache for the love of all things holy. There's one person in this issue who's like, love the mustache. What is wrong with that person?
Have you found
that Hawkman number 4, first appearance of Zatanna? Yeah, that's a good question, and I can probably find out real quick.
So, as far as Fantastic Four is concerned, like in issue 8, when it first shows Johnny, did you like catch yourself checking to see if he still had the mustache? Because I did.
Yes, I did.
That mustache is so bad. It is so bad. I did like the Flame Doppelganger, Flamo. I believe that was his name.
Yeah.
That Johnny creates. The whole premise of this book is that Sue and Alicia remember everyone that they've encountered in this particular issue. The reason being is Sue has like a force field over them. A woman disappears and the hardware store is closed. They keep asking about this woman because they had literally just been in there that morning. Nobody's ever heard of her. They even call the woman's husband, who she had talked about, and he's like, look, I don't know why that hardware store's got my name. I have no idea who you're talking about. When they get back to Aunt Petunia's, and by the way, I'm loving them being at Aunt Petunia's. That's just been fun.
That is ridiculously fun, I have to admit.
Yeah, that's just been a fun, neat little thing that they've thrown in. Well, they're telling Johnny what's going on, and Johnny's like, hey, we've got this. Yeah, let's check it out. We're the Fantastic Four. It's you, me, Alicia, and Flamo, Dynamo, whatever his name was. And they're like, well, what about Reed and Ben? And he's like, who's that? He has no idea who Reed Richards and Ben Grimm are. Well, you kind of jump forward some, and there's like this, I don't know what you would actually call it, somewhere between Grimace and Thanos' love child from the looks of it. I don't know what you actually call it, but it basically enslaves everyone to do its bidding and to serve only it. But when it does, it sends out like this psychic pulse that makes the entire world forget that the person even existed. So in this issue actually wraps up with Sue and Johnny having to face off against Reed and Ben. It's just another fun issue. I mean, if you're literally just looking for a superhero book that is not earth-shattering, it's not cataclysmic every single issue. I mean, it's just been a fun adventure. I mean, that's all it's been. I think one of the reasons why I'm liking them being at Aunt Petunia's house is it's almost like a back to basics.
Oh, it's a literal, it's like a symbol of back to basics.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely just been really fun.
No, I have thoroughly enjoyed Fantastic Four from day one. Still enjoying it. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really good book.
Okay. Next up on the list, we have Dawn of DC Batman issue 136.
Boom. Bat and the Cat.
So I don't know how I feel about the Bat and the Cat's relationship in this.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like I love you, but I don't want to be with you. I can't stand you, but I love you. It's kind of standoffish. It's definitely not Tom King's relationship with those characters.
Well, they've done some things and made some decisions since then. And yeah. Yeah, but you can tell they still care about each other on some level. It's almost like I love you, but I don't want you to be with anybody. I don't want you, but you can't be with anybody else type deal. That's kind of the way that it felt. I got a I want us to be together, but it can't be right now vibe off of them.
Yeah, you definitely get that. We all know it's headed that direction one day. I guess we don't need to rush it, even though we all want to see it, have it hurry up and happen. But I'm wondering how the fake hand is going to play into this. For those of you that aren't reading, Chip Zdarsky literally cut off Batman's hand a couple of issues back. Batman ended up with the Dark Knight Returns Batman in the multiverse, and he basically gave him, is it mechanical? I mean, really and truly, what is it? But it's a hand and it works. And he doesn't want anyone to know about it. One thing that I thought was really cool in this issue was the whole, pretty much to me, one of the main premises of this book was Bruce Wayne is tired, Bruce Wayne is hurting, but Batman can't be. So it's Batman has to carry on no matter what. He does kind of meditate, go within himself, and he takes Zur and he locks Zur up, and he's like, hey, look, you're not getting out anymore. We're done with this. Zur and Failsafe is going to be an ongoing theme for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We may not see them for a couple of issues, but that's always going to be lurking in the background. But one of the coolest things about this book was Bruce literally has an alarm go off and someone's broken into the manor. And even Bruce is like, look, I live in the brownstone now, but the manor is home and nobody's going to defile my home. So he heads to the manor ready to handle business.
This was such a great moment.
Yeah, the entire Bat family is there. It's early in the morning. They're cooking breakfast. Jason, Dick, Tim, Babs.
And Jason admits that he was tricked into coming, but
yeah, and they're basically like, hey, look, we knew you wouldn't agree to this, but we knew you needed this. So you kind of get this really nice moment of the family sitting down and enjoying some time together. There is a secondary.
You even see a smile on Batman's face for a second.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I like that Zdarsky threw that in there because I'm really hoping that Zdarsky does with Batman what he did with Daredevil.
Yep.
Yes, in Daredevil, and we'll get to that later, we are seeing the apex version of Daredevil. But he also humanized him in some aspects. In this, Batman has had to learn what fear is again and how he is fear. You really get that from the other universe that he was trapped in for a while. But with the moment that he has with the family, he's humanizing him again.
Yep.
So that's been really fun. The secondary story of this is also written by Zdarsky. And it was really cool because basically Bruce is sitting at the computer and he's working a case, and all of a sudden it's like the word bubble changes and it's Zur's voice. He gets up, he goes to the Batcave that's under the Batcave. For those of you reading, that makes sense. And Zur starts working on Failsafe. Zur builds Failsafe and trains him to take down Batman. And that was really cool to watch because earlier in the book, Bruce makes a comment about he doesn't even remember creating Failsafe. But Zur then goes back upstairs, sits back down at the computer, and he makes a couple of comments about how Batman cannot be tired. And then all of a sudden it's Bruce again. So Bruce doesn't even know that this split personality that he created is getting out on its own. But loving where Zdarsky's going with this. It's definitely psychological. There's definitely some feel-good moments in it. Batman is definitely worth reading again because I know a lot of people quit reading it around that one little funky era with Ghostmaker. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. We're not going to rehash that. But I highly suggest going and grabbing issue 125 where Zdarsky took over and getting caught back up.
We have that whole Failsafe story arc in trade up at the shop.
And that Failsafe story arc is so good too.
It really is. To finally answer your question, Matt, about the relationship, no, I don't think it's like from Batman Returns at all. They've got too much history. They know each other. They're really comfortable with each other. It's just more of a matter of the timing is bad, and he's in a vulnerable place in this from what he just came back from, and a vulnerable Batman is not normal, right? That's not how we normally see him. So he's a little defensive about it, but it's not the same as the movie at all. At least I didn't think so. Did you?
One thing about him being in that alternate universe is, and he even admits it, when he sees that universe's version of Selina, even he admits to himself, I'm going to love her no matter what universe I'm in. So I think we're kind of at a point now where he's coming to terms with his vulnerability, but he can't handle it at the same time. Okay. Yeah, and as far as this comment right here, that sounds too good. It actually kind of is too good.
That was about the family moment and all that.
Oh yeah. But it's you'll definitely enjoy it. Next up on the list, I've been preaching and screaming about this one too. Death Dealer, issue number 13. Opus Comics has killed it again.
That is a killer cover.
Yeah, it really is. And once again, it's another cover that fits the story. That is not Death Dealer. That is a totally different character. But basically, Death Dealer has escaped with a child. They're making their way toward the mountains, toward the other tribes, trying to get help. They are literally getting ready to face, they've got an army of the undead on their tail, and behind the army of the undead is an army of demons. Death Dealer has gone, to answer your question, Matt, Death Dealer is being done by Opus Comics, and it's being written by McCain. He's done a really good job with it. It's definitely not a book for kids on any level. At least there's only to kind of quote another friend of ours, there's really and truly only one, maybe two, possibly three scenes that would get kind of weird as far as being adult oriented. The rest of it would be more violence and everything. So, but it's definitely been the perfect Dungeons and Dragons sword and sorcery type story. I don't know if Opus Comics is putting this out as a trade. I think all these are still pretty much cover price. You might be able to track them down if you wanted to check them out, Matt, but it's definitely worth reading. It's definitely been a fun read. This one was not a part of New Comic Book Day last week. I actually picked this one up at Con K, and I wanted to throw it into the pull list just to kind of show it off a little bit. So last weekend was Con K in Huntsville. Kelly Yates was there, went to his table, hung out for a few minutes, and Kelly Yates had this book at his table called Artist Alley. There's about 4 or 5 stories in here that, just 2-3 page stories from different artists and different characters. And he actually had a quick little story about an upcoming Kickstarter that he's doing called Monster, and emphasis on the HER in Monster. But, he signed it for me, all that good stuff. I just threw it in there. We'll just have to look for it because I definitely want to get a hold of Monster when it comes out.
That just made me think last week, that made me think of Monster, the humongous graphic novel that Barry Windsor Smith put out.
Oh, yeah.
About a year ago? And for anybody who doesn't know, last week, Barry Windsor Smith had a massive ischemic stroke. So he's in a rough way. He is recovering. He's going through all the stuff you got to go through, but how much of a recovery that's going to be, we don't know. So Barry Windsor Smith suffered a pretty debilitating event. And then, as you alluded to earlier, we lost John Romita Sr. this week, 93 years old. Absolutely one of the best comic book creators in the history of comics, as far as I'm concerned. His Peter Parker, his version of Spider-Man, is the one that I picture in my head when if you were just say Peter Parker to me, it's the way that John Romita Sr. drew him. Same for his Spider-Man. That's the classic. That's how I visualize it. So yeah, major loss to the comics community. That's really rough. I mean, he's 93 years old, so it's not a tremendous surprise, and he lived an amazing life. But what a loss. And according to the hundreds and hundreds of people that I have seen online, that I'm friends with, retailers, comic book creators, all that kind of thing. As good a comic book creator as he was, an artist as he was an infinitely better human being, just an incredible guy. So for his friends, his family, all of his fans, that's a rough loss for everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, you 93 years old. I mean, we should all be that lucky to live that long, you know?
Yeah.
Next up, we have Nocterra issue 15. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. This needs to be some type of Netflix or AMC series or something. Basically, they have blown up Lux. They are using the light to try to go after the darkness, and it's even called out in this. It's pretty much, it's black and it's white. It's good and it's evil. It's light and it's dark. That's the story. My favorite, I honestly think my favorite villain, Blacktop Bill, is in this book. Blacktop Bill is just, he's out there. I mean,
he is a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely off his rocker, and I believe we're fixing to get a one-shot that's coming out. I can't remember exactly who this one-shot is about. But we're kind of getting so far into Nocterra now that basically the darkness is trying to take over all of the planets. Lux is the only holdout. If they can keep Lux up and running, and Lux is what it is the light. If they can keep it up and running in this one particular spot, they stand a chance of saving the Earth, or at least saving a portion of the Earth. They don't go that round. They decide to blow it all up. And as they blow it up, they're actually making their way toward this. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it's like a cannon that they can amplify the blast and hopefully drive out the last of the big PM, which we kind of know it's not going to work, because if it works, they're going to have to end the story.
Yeah.
But it's been a fun read. We are kind of finishing up his backstory on this one with his mom and everything. I'm not a fan of when they drag backstories out, but the way that they've done,
For some reason, I just pictured Wolverine.
Yeah. Really.
The backstory that you drug out for decades.
Oh God, yeah, the backstory that we've been getting for the past 50 years. But the way that they've done his backstory in this, and how he's applied the scientific method to his own personal story and to all this,
Sorry,
I do have an idea about it, and it would be haunted. But it's Nocterra has been fun. These are definitely in trade somewhere. Scott Snyder's been doing a really good job with Nocterra. The art has been fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Next up, and I keep telling y'all that Darth Vader is literally the best Star Wars book going right now until issue 35 of the main title come out. This was absolutely wonderful. Once again, we have a cover that makes sense to the story itself. This one's really cool in the aspect of, for those of you that are reading it, you'll know what I'm talking about. For those of you that are not reading it, Luke has an old yellow lightsaber that he found in a temple. It's broken. He's taking it somewhere to see if he can get it fixed. There's a new character that's introduced. I believe the name is Krata, whatever. They won't be in it too much.
How'd you pronounce
longer.
that?
Yeah, that's
if that doesn't make it into a short somewhere, something is wrong.
Yeah. Well, you know, in his language, he could pronounce it that way. But basically, this guy is he's an alien, but he's a specialist in kyber crystals. And he actually talks to the kyber crystals, and apparently the kyber crystals talk back to him. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. But he tells Luke, I'm going to fix your lightsaber for you, but I want you to do something for me. I want you to take this red kyber crystal and try to heal it. And Luke's like, I don't know if I can do that.
What?
I want you to try to heal this kyber crystal. Well, someone who's been helping Luke, I can't remember her name, is like, no, wait a minute. There's a process. This can be done. My people used to help Jedi do this. So Luke sits down and he starts meditating with this red kyber crystal in his hand, and he's automatically transported, and he's like in a room. There's a female Sith Lord sitting on a throne, and she's basically like, who are you and what are you doing here? And they kind of have an exchange. Well, then he gets pulled out of it. Well, he doesn't think it was all real. He thinks it was a vision. The next one he sees is a kyber crystal that's clear, like a whitish clear. And Luke says, what's this one? He goes, what hasn't been influenced or anything yet? So he takes the kyber crystal and he goes to meditate with it, and he instantly sees Yoda. Master Yoda is there, and he's talking to him, and Luke is like, hey, look, this is not real. It's just some type of vision, blah, 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 blah. Yoda's like, well, you know, apparently you needed me here for something. Let's talk about this. They kind of have this.
You need me.
Luke disappears, but Yoda doesn't. And all of a sudden, Obi-Wan shows up, the Force ghost of Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan is like, you know, they're like, he's not ready. You know, he's getting stronger, but he's not ready. And it's implied, I can't remember which one says it, basically says, yeah, he thinks this was just a vision. He doesn't realize that he was really here with us. So there's something going on with the kyber crystals that allowed Luke to actually jump, not from a vision, but I'm going to assume kind of like a Force ghost, or some type of Force jump like they did in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But when Luke opens his hand, the kyber crystal is green. It's no longer white. Yeah, they really do need to bring her into it quick, fast, and in a hurry. But basically, Luke tells this guy, I'm keeping this green one. Now we know where Luke gets his green lightsaber at. Luke is going to end up building his saber, and he's going to use that kyber crystal. That's the only thing that makes sense for it. But at the same time, he tells the guy, I'm keeping this red one as well because I'm going to heal this kyber crystal. So he leaves with both crystals and a working lightsaber. Really good book. You could actually pick up issue 34 and 35 and get that into. It's only 2 books tells that entire story if you wanted to check it out.
That's a heck of a story.
It really was a really good story, and that cover is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, like I said, once again, the cover made sense for the story. Okay. Okay. This next book, it wasn't a bad book, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So it was somewhat disappointing to me, but it was still a decent story, definitely worth reading and everything. And that is Star Wars Empire. It's just a one-shot, or at least I'm assuming it's a one-shot.
That was a cool cover.
Yeah, really cool cover. But the thing here says, what would you do if the Empire took over? So when I saw that, the first thing I thought of that it was some type of one-shot, like a what-if type story. It's not. The entire story takes place on Endor. Actually, it starts off with the guy being transported to Endor. He works for the Empire. His family's company was taken over. They are forcing him to work. He's like a security guy, as far as say like cybersecurity or something. He decides, or communications. He decides to make a lot better. He's going to try to do a really good job, but he ends up seeing things that he's not supposed to see, and he ends up in prison at the end of it. it was a decent story. Did it add value to the overall Star Wars universe? No, it really didn't. It was just another side story. Really cool cover, though. I did enjoy it. Is it worth picking up and reading? Yeah, I think it's worth picking up and reading. But
Just
it's one
as
of
a note,
those where
as a note, I just went to check. Star Wars number 35 or number 34 and 35 are sold out, and are they've got second prints coming.
really,
Yeah.
Huh. There was something else that I saw. Oh, we'll get into that later. I don't want to jump ship just yet. Next up, this one has actually come out a couple of weeks ago, and I picked this up on Tom Price's recommendation, and I'm so
That
glad.
seems like a mistake. I don't know about that.
No, I am so glad I'm dead. Tom Price was knocked this one out of the park recommending this book. That is the Rocketeer one shot.
It's Rocketeer. Of course, that's good. You don't have to have Tom Price tell you that.
Well, here's my thing on the Rocketeer. I watched the Disney movie when it came out in early 90s, mid 90s.
93, yeah.
I
With Bruce
enjoyed
Campbell's kid.
Yeah,
That's
but
who that is.
Really and truly didn't know anything else about the character. But Tom told me, he said, pick this up. It's really good. It's actually 3 stories in here.
Yep.
And I believe we have a new Rocketeer fan. The first story, have you read it yet?
Yeah.
So, the first story is about a Rocketeer and Amelia Earhart. Honestly, I wasn't expecting the best word that comes to mind is sweet. It was a sweet story. It really was. The second story, for all intents purposes, is the Rocketeer meets Indiana Jones. He
Pretty
is
much,
Indiana,
yes.
Yeah,
That's a
he
good
is
summation.
Indiana Jones in every sense of the character except name.
Yeah, the Rocketeer is a great character. It's a striking visual. I love the time period. They're in the 30s and 40s. What's not to love? It's great stuff.
Oh, the fellers that we were talking about earlier, they're at Heroes Con.
Oh, well, we'll have to talk without them. We'll just have to talk without those two brothers.
But yeah, the Rocketeer, I know there's still a couple left up at the shop. This was, it was money well spent. Plus, it's a one shot. You get the whole thing. You actually get 3 stories, some gorgeous art. This is actually the Adam Hughes cover right here. I want to say that the cover. There was 3 or 4 covers to it? No,
there were quite a few.
Yeah. This next book, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because we are so far down the Tales from the Dark Side rabbit hole. I could explain this book for the next 5 hours and you're still not going to understand what I'm talking about. But we have Breath of Shadows, issue number 5.
I wondered what book you were about to talk about, and yeah, you're 100% correct about that. We need to get Justin Birch to come on here and talk to us about that one.
Okay. I'll be heading up there after work tomorrow. I need to make a list of books to put in Matt Posey's box. I'll take care of that for you. But it's I don't even know how to explain it anymore. Our rock star Jimmy is some type of Aztec centipede god now, and the best way to explain it is the band has now been recruited. The managers, the girlfriends, everybody is on board. There's some type of worshiper of him now, and they're getting ready to go on world tour. And the reason being is they're rock stars, and that just puts them in front of thousands of people for the centipede god to eat. The end.
So he will grow bigger and stronger and become unstoppable.
I don't know. All I know is there's something wrong with me for enjoying this. There really is, because I did enjoy it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That is a bizarre one.
It was definitely. Tales from the Crypt, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side, everything.
Is this because you want to read that one now too, Matt? Is it? Oh, Lord have mercy. That's funny stuff. Hey, Bill Fisher, I got a question for you, bud. How you liking that G.I. Joe #1?
All right, I got 2 new books left in the throwback pick. This one right here, this one will be really quick. It's kind of a story that we've seen play out multiple times, but we've got Sins of the Salton Sea, issue 1 by AWA. Once again, AWA gives us a killer first issue. The whole gist is we've got 2 brothers. One is basically something's happened. He's a little down on his luck. He doesn't want to have anything to do with anybody. I think it was a job that went bad. His brother comes back into his life and is like, hey, we've got 1 more score. It's going to be an easy score. I've basically put the crew together. I need you.
It's retiring criminals and photographers. Just 1 more. Just one more.
It's going to be an easy score. They are transporting jewels and money. There's like, I think it was like 50 million cash. We get the cash. Somebody else gets the jewels and we're home free and you go live however you want to live. Well, naturally it goes south. The entire crew gets killed except for the brother that didn't want to do it. When the back of the 18-wheeler or truck gets opened up, there's no jewels, there's no money, there's nothing. It's literally a woman and a kid. Might even been 2 kids. But I think we're going to, and he ends up escaping with them. They're running for their lives now. He's going to end up having to do the right thing. But I think what we're going to end up with is another one of those cult scenarios where the cult is doing some type of human trafficking or something. I might be stretching it a little bit, but with the art style and the way the people were being transported, I'm really, really, really hoping this ties into Devil's Highway somehow.
Dude, that would be awesome.
It's already, I mean, they could tie it in very easily. But yeah. I think it's still too early to say if it's a cult or anything. So we're just going to have to see which direction they go with it. But once again, if you're tired of superheroes and, stuff like that, check out AWA, Sins of the Salton Sea #1. It literally come out last week. I think there's still some on the shelf from what I saw. Definitely pick it up. I mean, it's definitely more of an adult comic as far as, not superheroes and things like that.
Let's just talk about this for a second because we have been beating the AWA drum from day one. And our subscriber numbers would indicate that y'all are not listening for our local folks. I don't know about you non-local folks. Give it a shot. Read it.
Yep.
Trust us. You're going to want to come back for the 2nd issue.
I know that we turned Tots on to Black Tape.
Yes.
And literally every issue of Black, you could tell when Tots finished reading an issue of Black Tape.
Because our phones would blow up.
We immediately got texted.
It was like the Matrix, man. The text just coming through.
And I loved it. I mean, it's great. Tots has been enjoying the AWA books also. I think a couple of people may have kind of picked up here and there. If you want an adult-oriented horror story, something that is borderline disturbing that you want to see, think Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman 7.
Yeah, along those lines.
Go get Devil's Highway. The trades are up at the store right now.
So good.
It's literally 2 trades. You'll get the complete story. You'll get some amazing characters, a great storyline through it from beginning to end. There is no slowdown. If for those of you that are our age that remember, you know, those 70s and 80s horror movies like The Omen, The Exorcist, or even remember that movie with Tawny Katane, Witchboard?
Yes.
Pick up Black Tape. That is the book that you need.
Dude, we are just passionate about this. They are such good books. A lot of people are reading books that haven't earned it. Amazing Spider-Man, I'm looking at you. That book, I want to love Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man is one of my all-time favorite characters. I want to absolutely love it. And right now, I just want to set fire to every issue I own. It's painful.
Now, at the same time, and I'm not even going to name the series, but there was another series that AWA did that started out really strong. And then like the third issue into it, it was just kind of like, why am I even still reading this? This is kind of turning to garbage on me. And I don't know if they have plans for that in the future, but I hope they don't. AWA has definitely turned into the alternative for superhero comics.
And it's not just horror; it's all kind of things. I mean, you've got action, adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, Devil's Highway was a horror book, but it was also kind of a detective story.
Yep.
Right. Look at Trojan. Look at Girl Fight.
Oh, Trojan was so good.
There's just so many of these books, and they cover every genre you can imagine. They're not in any kind of a box. The only thing that they all have in common on the Venn diagram is quality.
Yep,
they're good.
American Ronin was another really good one.
Oh, that was great. I'd like to see him do something else with that.
I really so. Yeah, no, Bill's 100% right. Red Zone has been phenomenal. The Red Zone, because I think the last issue comes out next week. Yeah, that has been so good. The thing about Red Zone is, depending on I don't know how sales have done on that book, you know, across the board, but depending on how AWA does it, literally the sky's the limit with that character. The reason being is, yes, he is older, but you can tell he's still got one or two more adventures left in him. Give me time. I'll figure out how to do that. But you can also go back in time with this character to show how he got there.
A flashback would be amazing. I would love to see that.
Yeah, if they needed a cornerstone for that particular genre at AWA, since they do cover so many different genres,
they've done some interesting things in Red Zone because it's clearly
Alan's fine. You don't have to address me properly. Alan's fine.
But like you look at it, for the most part, it's very real world stuff that's going on in Red Zone, right? It's very. But you got this one dude who's a giant cyborg guy. It kind of reminds me of Silvermane from the old Spider-Man. Do you remember Silvermane?
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of Silvermane a little bit. Like a big, giant, hulking Russian Silvermane. Who was an interesting villain for Spider-Man. But that book, Red Zone, Matt, if you haven't checked it out or haven't looked at it, it's kind of like a cross between John Wick and the Red series. They made the movies with Bruce Willis and God, who all else was in that? Morgan Freeman was in that. John Malkovich was in that. Yeah, it's like a cross between those two things, those two ideas. And that's in the middle of that is where Red Zone is. And it's so good.
Yeah, still, my favorite part of Red Zone is the reason why the sniper really and truly couldn't hit him was because she had got so old and her cataracts were getting in the way. I thought that was just great.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that one owned me. As far as new books are concerned, let me end this as the hand of God. Daredevil has reached his ultimate form. He is in hell and he is going after the beast and he is getting Foggy's soul back. This book right
that
here.
all sounds absolutely ludicrous and insane. But the story, the how you get there is so awesome. And that is such an emotional issue. Holy smokes. I haven't cried at a comic book in a long time, and that about had me in tears.
When he's laying there dying and she tells him, go get your best friend.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, hang on a second. This is going to, for those of you that are not reading this, y'all are going to be, and Matt, this is not me being a salesman. This is just me being completely and totally honest. I have collected comic books off and on for over 40 years. Daredevil issue 12, in my opinion, is probably the closest in all of this time that I have ever seen to pure perfection in one book. It was just that good.
The writing is absolutely rock solid. The art is gorgeous.
So that's what I want to show you something on the art. Daredevil and Elektra are having to fight, but you see it's busted up against multiple panels, and each panel represents a different arc in their history as a couple.
And you can tell by the different costumes that he's wearing.
Yeah, so good.
Even had that weird black costume that he had around issue 300.
Yeah, but the whole premise of this issue is Matt has basically gone to Japan and he is going to kill the beast. There's a cave that the beast is supposedly supposed to appear from.
It's the mouth of hell, essentially.
Yeah, the mouth of hell. And there is someone there guarding it. I can't remember his name.
Blind Spot.
Yep. Matt sends him away. He's like, go live your life. I've got this. This is my responsibility. This is what I'm going to do. Well, Foggy is dead. Matt knows that Foggy's soul is in hell, and the only way he's going to free Foggy's soul is to kill the beast. He does
make you die right there. You doesn't matter what you're doing. You get sucked into hell at that hell mouth.
Yep. What's up?
Oh, Ryan? Look at that. Mr. Comics and Death Metal himself, the one, the only Ryan Williams. How you doing, sir? Hope all is well.
But basically, and there was like some really good things in this issue, writing wise. He's literally sitting there on his knees. He's got his sword. He's about to
commit
suicide.
Seppuku.
Yeah, Harry.
Seppuku.
For the simple fact of keep in mind, Daredevil is a devout Catholic. That is a cardinal sin. That is guaranteed. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to hell.
Yep.
And he is going to commit Harry just so he can go to hell to take out the beast and free Foggy's soul.
We're going to be talking about that in a minute, Ryan. We haven't gotten to it yet. We've kind of danced around it, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, we've been kind of waiting on that one. But even at that moment, he says, even in hell, I still belong to God. I'm still yours, but this is what I've got to do. Elektra stops him. They get to a fight. He basically uses Elektra's momentum and his rope against her, and he uses her side to kill himself. She takes his helmet off, and she's like, oh, God, Matt, what have you done? Because she sees where he had cut his own eyes out the issue beforehand. And he's laying there dying. She's like, hey, go get your buddy. Go get your friend. When Matt wakes up, he actually wakes up in a boxing ring. From the left
got our folks out on the California side tonight.
Oh, you saw.
Our reach spans the continent.
You need to hurry up and get back to this side of the Mason-Dixon line. But when he's there, he wakes up in a boxing ring and his dad's there. And his dad's like, you're a Murdoch. You get up. We handle this. We keep going. And he's like, Dad, what are you doing here? I'm supposed to be in hell. And he goes, well, you know, my last sin was pride. That was my greatest sin because there was no way I was going to take a dive and let my boy see me get beat like that. You have an emotional moment. His dad gives him the original Daredevil mask back. We're done with the helmet. He puts it on, and he is getting ready to go into hell to fight the beast. And that's that last page I showed y'all. The uniform.
He's got the white costume.
Yeah, it turns out white costume, and he's like, basically, if I'm doing this as the hand of God. And you're just,
and you saw he almost had like the Iron Fist thing going on too.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my God, why are you going to put out issue 12 and not put out issue 13 on the same damn day? I need both of them.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah, but like I said, almost 40 years, a little over 40 years of collecting comic books. And this is the closest I've ever seen to pure perfection in one issue from start to finish.
And that cover is exquisite.
Oh, it really is.
Marco Cichetta is one of the absolute best comic book artists that's working right now. And his style is so perfect for this book.
Now, speaking of cover art that is exquisite, my throwback pick of the week is The Fury of Firestorm, The Nuclear Man, issue number 9. You're probably asking, why do we have this random Firestorm comic as the throwback pick? Because we don't see covers like that anymore. The level of detail, him standing in the rain with the floodwaters and everything. The rain coming, bouncing off of his legs, off of the light pole in the background. We just don't see covers with that much detail anymore. And when we do, I try to pick them up, especially the older ones.
Yep. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So, yeah, that was my throwback pick of the week simply because of the level of detail. Take She-Hulk number 2, for example, where she's putting her shoulder into the bus. You actually see various pieces of the bus, the engine shattering around her and flying off. They don't do stuff like that anymore. And I do miss those days a great deal.
Now, in that grocery sack full of comics I got when I was a kid, there was a Firestorm number 1 in there. So that was one of the first comics I ever read was in that stack, was a Firestorm number 1. Now it's my turn for my throwback pick of the week. My throwback pick of the week is a comic book that I was on the hunt for a long time. It's one of those covers that is just iconic. Is the art the best art in the world? No. But it's such a great cover. Godzilla, they're just putting out one-shots right now, mostly with the surrounding cast of, and they've gotten pretty obscure with some of the other kaiju.
The current one-shot that's getting ready to come out is Godzilla versus Pirates, and yes, there are a bunch of us that are looking forward to that one.
I'm going to admit that one looks fantastic. But anywho, this is a book that I could have bought off eBay a number of times, but that's not how I roll. I like to find them in the wild. And, the best of one-shots is what they've got going on right now, right? I like to find them in the wild. And this is the first time in my, as he said it now that I look at it, I've also been reading comics for 40 years. 40 years! God, I'm old. Anyway, this is one that this is the first time I've ever seen this book in the wild. Like, honest to goodness, seen it, picked it up. It was in absolutely terrible condition. I mean, awful. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. But that book is, and I'm going to cover up the grade here for a minute, is this one. The Legion of Monsters. It's the Marvel Premiere number 28, the first appearance of the Legion of Monsters. All of these guys, right? And
that's nice.
I mean, that art is not great. I mean, look at this skull. Look at what is this? It's a terrible pose for Morbius. It's just awful. But here's the thing: this book was in terrible shape. I mean, awful. and a lot of it absolutely not recoverable at all. But I sent this off to Dustin Ellis of Two Brothers Comics, to the comic book chiropractor, and I said, this one needs an adjustment. And he worked on it, and he did. Honestly, I didn't think there was any way, no matter what level of cleaning, no matter what level of pressing you were able to do, I didn't think this could get higher than a 4.0, and a 3.5 was entirely possible. And we came back
Nice.
5.0. Is this a super high dollar book, especially in this condition? No. But there is no way that this book should have gotten this score or could have gotten this score without him doing a phenomenal job cleaning and pressing this book. So big hats off to Dustin Ellis at Comic Book Chiropractor for doing one hellaciously good job on this book, which is a sentimental favorite of mine, and I've waited years to get my hands on it, and I finally did, so it is mine, and I will love it forever.
Hold it back up. That is a good looking copy, though.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you've never read this book, whoa, is it terrible. It's part 1, and it's so stupid. It is absolutely stupid.
Why is it that some of the worst comic books from that era end up being some of our favorite ones?
Because we really love the good ones, and we respect the great ones, but the stupid ones, which are like, this one's the first time all of these monsters get together, so that's what makes this memorable or impactful. But sometimes it's just because we're old enough now that we go back and we look at it and go, man, that was dumb. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I would read things that were stupid, and I thought they were great. You know?
Well, yeah. Perfect prime example is Crystar the Crystal Warrior, or Crystar.
Crystar was pretty awful. But yeah, this is an absolutely terrible book that I love. And Dustin Ellis knocked it out of the park. I was hoping to get him on the show so I could say thank you, and we could talk about it, talk about his process a little bit and what he does and how he does it. But we will save that for another week, and we will have him on the show later. As Ryan says, yes, Dustin Ellis is the chiropractor. Go see the doctor. The doctor is in. So, I think that brings us back to the big topic of the week this week. Well, we've got one brief interlude we can take, and that is I finally saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
And what'd you think?
Have you seen it yet?
No. I probably won't even watch it till it hits Disney Plus, to be honest with you. Quantum Mania kind of broke me of going to the movies to see Marvel movies for a while.
That's silly. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is a very, very fitting ending to the story. And the linchpin that they use for the whole thing is giving you the history of Rocket. And if this movie doesn't make you cry a time or two, you don't have a heart. You just don't have a heart.
Yeah, I mean, so
at all. Rocket's first word,
saying,
the first word he ever says will gut you.
Really?
It's hard. It's hard.
So a lot of people are saying this is the best Marvel movie to come out, and that this is the movie that put Marvel back on track. Would you agree with that?
Well, I never thought Marvel got off track to the extent that a lot of people did. I personally really enjoyed Quantumania. But I can see why everyone has that reaction to this movie. Absolutely.
See, I enjoyed Quantumania, but it was kind of one of those where I don't know. It's just kind of, it was starting to get stale by Quantumania for me. You know, I was wanting something different, and I mean, you can't get any more different than Quantumania.
No, I was gonna say I thought that was pretty different.
I mean, I don't know. It just kind of it just seemed like we're getting more and more of the same. Like their start. So pre-Endgame was like the grown-up version of the MCU, and it's getting more and more and more and more grown up. Endgame happens, and now it's almost like we're regressing to some type of adolescence. Like,
Oh, I can see that.
yeah. So by Quantumania, I was kind of okay, whatever.
I will. I don't think that Black Panther 2 could be considered that.
Well, see, I still hadn't even watched Black Panther 2 yet.
Oh, so good. My issues with Atlantis aside, but Guardians 3 is a absolute. It's got its levity, it's got its moments because it's Guardians 3 and it is what it is. But it is a heartbreaker in many respects. There's a lot of rip your heart out moments. It's a passing of the torch. It's really interesting the way that they closed everything out for all the different characters. But yeah, it's fun. I dug it. I don't know that I want to see it again anytime soon because it was hard to watch in a lot of places. It was very hard to watch.
Well, see, and it's got to get us out to a movie theater now, just to try to find the time and everything. It's got to be a major movie that gets us there.
I wouldn't mind a World War II story with the invaders.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty spectacular.
I really hope that if they end up doing something more with Werewolf by Night.
They absolutely need to do that. What I think of that wasn't his intro into the MCU. He had a part in the first Guardians movie.
Who was he in the first Guardians movie?
He was one of the prisoners in the jail.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Now, he was a big alien, and you only really got his voice. But no, his role here was very good, and you got to see his face, which was good. Yeah, I'm 100% with you on this. Get out of space, guys. Back on terra firma. Let's tell some stories. And I'm talking, let's tell some good old-fashioned Spider-Man stories and Daredevil stories. Let's tell some stories in the gutters, in the streets of New York that don't have anything to do with aliens, that don't have anything to do with space. I would really dearly love that. But speaking of, they showed the preview for Marvels, and that looked fun. It looked a lot more fun than I expected.
I never watched the Miss Marvel on Disney Plus.
You are doing yourself a disservice. If you like the Fantastic Four book, you would love that Miss Marvel series.
Yeah, it was just one of those I never got around to.
Well, it's still on there, so watch it.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. But you know what? I still haven't finished the last season of Mandalorian yet either. You know, I've been entertained by it. So I've been good.
That one lost it in that last season.
I think I've got
it became about something else.
Yeah.
And had they kept the focus on the Mandalorian where it should have been, that would have been great, but it became something else. Not too late for y'all to come to Heroes. Man, I hope you guys have a blast up there. That's a heck of a show. It's a heck of a show. But all right, now it's time. It is time. Let's talk about some Void Rivals and what has been revealed, shall we?
So what I know two things about Void Rivals right now. Number one, everybody that has read it has absolutely loved it. I've seen nothing but positive reviews. I have not read it yet, so And number 2, it's already scheduled for a second print.
Yeah, we are sold out at the store. I ordered more than double our subscriber numbers on it, and then I ordered more, and it is sold out, including all of our copies of the blank variant.
Now,
it's gone.
What was the spoiler variant? I saw something about a spoiler variant.
There was a spoiler variant that had the other members of that universe on the cover. It was a 1 in 100 incentive variant.
Gotcha.
So for anybody that doesn't know, the cat's out of the bag at this point. I'll preface this by saying I was on it's sold out. 100% sold out. But I will preface this by saying I was on a round table with some folks from Image, including Robert Kirkman, about 5-6 weeks ago. And they told us what the big secret is, and they said, please don't tell anybody. And the fact that nobody spilled the beans until the Friday before the book came out was a bit of a shocker. Because there's folks who love spilling the beans. There are people who, for whatever reason, love talking to that dude at Bleeding Cool. And they love to share the secrets. But nobody did. They kept it behind the cone of silence, and that was great. But what they came out with here, what the general thing is the way he tells it. Robert Kirkman wanted to tell this new story about the Void Rivals, essentially a planet. There's a black hole in the middle. 2 enemies end up on this planet on the other side of the black hole, and they have to fight together to survive and escape. Or they have to not fight against each other, but they have to fight together to survive and escape. And that's the basic story of Void Rivals. Hence the title, I guess. But he also said, I grew up playing with these toys, and I always wanted to have action figures made of my characters. So when I sat and we formulated all these ideas, Void Rivals is set in a shared universe. That shared universe is a universe called Energon. So he has brought his property he has created exists in a world with the Transformers and with G.I. Joe. On the one hand, I think, all right, I have never been a fan of the G.I. Joe Transformers crossovers. Never. There was one time I liked it, and that was the alternate history one set in the 40s, like during World War II, that Jay Lee did the art on, and that one was spectacular. Had one of my all-time favorite scenes in any comic book ever was in that series. But outside of that, I'm not a big fan of crossing over Transformers and G.I. Joe. So I hope that they maintain the integrity of each one of those universes in their own separate way. You want to have something that ties them together. I hope they keep it subtle. I'm afraid that they're not, and I'll share why that is in a minute. Robert Kirkman's absolutely a great dude, Ryan. He has been solely responsible for a lot of things that have been very, very helpful to the direct market over the past several years. Sending out free copies of books to retailers, in one case to launch a series that had not been marketed at all. The marketing was, hey, we're going to start with free number 1s. Here you go. Just an incredible guy. But there is a new Transformers comic that comes out in October, starting with a new number 1. They have not announced the release of G.I. Joe yet. So when that is coming is a little bit of a mystery, but they have released that there are 2 G.I. Joe books coming. And I'm pulling up an email so I can read you some of this because we just got a marketing email earlier. spelling out some of this stuff. Okay. So the first one of the G.I. Joe books that's going to come out is, let me scroll down to it. Duke #1. Duke, of all people. I still don't know why people like Duke. Here's where it gets interesting. This is in December. Duke #1 comes out in December. It's a limited series written by Joshua Williamson. So, okay. And this tells you here, and this is why I don't like this. This is what really bothers me. Tells the story you've never read before, the origins of G.I. Joe and Cobra in a world grappling with the arrival of the Autobots and Decepticons.
So I wonder how much Larry Hama had to do with this.
I don't know. Duke investigates the mysteries behind the Transformers. The answers will lead to the birth of forces for good and evil that the world never imagined. So are they retconning the origin of G.I. Joe to be based on the fact that Autobots and Decepticons have shown up in the world? Not a fan. It sets the stage for a fresh new take on G.I. Joe, Cobra, and the iconic characters you only think you know. I'm not a fan of that. I'm already not a fan of that. Joshua Williams says, Tom and I are bringing you a new take on Duke and the formation of G.I. Joe that honors all that we love about the characters, but takes it in a new and exciting direction. It's been awesome working with Skybound and Hasbro to bring this new take on the G.I. Joe franchise. For the last few years, I've been picking up all the new G.I. Joe classified figures, so I'm pumped to contribute to the new world of G.I. Joe and Transformers. I got to tell you, I am apprehensive as all get out about this. I don't want G.I. Joe, and if I have to have G.I. Joe and Transformers, I want it as 2 scoops of ice cream. I don't want it swirled together into a mix. You see what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then following the launch of Duke #1 in January of 2024 is Cobra Commander #1, also from Josh Williamson. In a world where Cobra doesn't exist, one man Sinister plans to utilize the mysterious alien substance known as Energon will send shockwaves across the globe. And then the publisher for this book says that his first comic was G.I. Joe, and he couldn't be more excited to unite the Transformers and G.I. Joe into one universe. Why is that exciting? I don't want that. I want them in separate universes. I do not want them. I'm not a fan. I went from extremely excited about all this to feeling exactly like that. Like I'm already not happy.
So I'm going to hold off and reserve judgment, but I'm also going to reserve the right to hate it. I do want to see how they're going to do it. I know that and I haven't seen the movie yet, but I did read an article, the Beast Wars or Rise of the Beast, whatever it is.
Yeah, I got a text from Dustin who went to see that with his son. He's like, have you seen it yet? And I'm like, no. And he's like, you're really going to want to. And I'm like, the only reason you would say that is if it has something to do with G.I. Joe.
Well, what it is I think it's the main character that it's actually based on, the human. He gets a job offer at the end of it, and it's or some type of job offer, and they literally hand him a card, and it's the G.I. Joe logo. Well, in an article that I read said that that's not what the original card was, that's only come about in the past couple of months before the movie come out, that they didn't get permission to do this until just almost at the nth hour, and they had to change the logo and the name on that card. So it does sound like Hasbro and Skybound and everybody is about to go full force with this. And I mean, I am interested. I want to see how they're going to do it. I want to see which direction it's going to go in. It's not something where they have to be in each other's books at all times.
I would like it if they were never in each other's books. Can you point to a single G.I. Joe Transformers crossover that was worth reading?
I would like to see if they're going to do it that way, I would like to see a shared universe where they did it like Supermassive. They come together once a year for a one shot and it's done.
That I could put up with. But this, like, being just part of each other's books, no, thank you. I want nothing to do with that. I don't want the G.I. Joe vehicles to actually be Autobots. No.
Well, they need to be GoBots.
No. Big ol' no. Now, one thing, all of that stuff I just read is disheartening to me. It makes me very, 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 very skeptical. How many have there been? Dude, they go back to literally the early 80s. And they do one every few years. Out of all of them, there's been exactly one that I liked, and that was a totally different flavor. World War II type setting, kind of what if alternate history. The one thing that gave me some hope, and cross my heart, I hope to goodness this is true. I had the opportunity to point blank, flat out, ask Robert Kirkman. I said, look, is the G.I. Joe story going to continue? For many reasons, not least of which is G.I. Joe 300 at IDW ended on a big cliffhanger. Is Larry Hama going to keep writing it? And he kind of got this smirk on his face. And he said, it sure was a cliffhanger, wasn't it? And I love Larry Hama, and we've been talking a lot. He didn't answer the question, but I hope to goodness that story is able to go on.
Well, this is what Ryan Williams just sent me. So, Ryan, do you know how... I mean, is this like legit? I mean, it looks legit, but then again...
Larry Hama had said he had written 301 and was halfway through 302 months and months ago. I'm hoping to goodness that is the case. Does it actually say 301 on it? That would make me even happier.
Yeah, it does say 301 up by the image, just underneath the image. Yes,
thank you, Ryan. Forward me that article. I need it. If they want to explore like having the Transformers around, see, November, how can it be? They haven't solicited that at all. In none of the documents that I just read, they talk about books come out in October, December, and January, but none of them said anything about November. And that's all stuff that I got directly from Skybound as a retailer.
All right, I'm about to... Let's see.
Bleeding Cool. Of course it is.
Naturally. Whatever.
Half the stuff that he posts is... comes from questionable provenance. Let's just leave it that way.
So here's the actual article right here. Okay. It says returns at Skybound in November. But
well, yeah, but that's Bleeding Cool.
Yeah. Man, I'm kind of scanning it, but it's not.
I hope it's true. That cover is gorgeous. I'll give him that. I know that this is a different topic, but it is tangentially related. You remember how we were talking the other day about the HasLab toy that they're putting out right now, which is the Dragonfly helicopter with Wild Bill? You remember that?
Yeah, I think they just reached another stretch goal today, didn't they?
They did. So the Ripcord figure is going to come with it, and that's pretty awesome.
Oh, Ryan, good point. This is Skybound's website.
Okay, then that I am very pleased about. and Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah, because we got to get the continuing adventures of Sean Collins.
Hallelujah. 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 Anywho, so they passed the threshold for the stretch goals to include the Ripcord action figure, which is cool because he looks awesome. Can you go to that HasLab page and pull up who the next stretch goal figure is? Because I want to check something real quick.
Oh, did you see that? I highlighted it.
No,
The
I didn't see it.
return of the original Snake Eyes.
Well, yeah, he showed up already.
I know, but look, everybody knows that the best Snake Eyes is a redheaded Irish kid named Sean Collins. All right, Larry, don't do this to me.
I think it's
I'm going to need both
debatable
of
that
them.
he's the best Snake Eyes.
Oh, well, you know what? We need to have another silent issue where it's just them two battling for the mantle. How about that?
I'd read it or look at it, I guess.
Do you want
But
the
yeah,
HasLab?
go to the Hasbro Pulse, go to the HasLab and look at the figure that they are putting up as the second stretch goal for the Dragonfly. Because this is fascinating.
Did you see the new Desert Gear Snake Eyes?
Oh yeah. What I'm really ticked about though is the eel. The Cobra eel looks amazing and sold out, and I wasn't able to get it, and so that broke my heart. Go to HasLab up there, yeah. Top
Yeah.
left.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, there you go. Click on that bad boy and open it up.
Now, are they? See, I want that Hiss tank so bad I can't see straight.
I couldn't justify $400 for that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Look, leave me alone. Stop.
All right, let's scroll and scroll and scroll till we get down to the stretch goals. For anybody who's wondering, this Dragonfly helicopter looks absolutely stunning. That does have LED lights, so the cockpit does light up.
Yep.
Comes with Wild Bill, which is awesome. Pretty awesome.
So
okay, so keep going, and you'll get to bigger pictures. Okay, so there's the Ripcord figure.
Yeah,
that's
Ripcord
awesome.
looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, it does. So let's go on.
That doesn't look.
That's just a model.
That's just a model.
That's just a model. It's not going to look like that. But yeah, Ripcord looks great. I'm excited about that. Now scroll on to this next.
Glenda.
Do you have any idea who that character is?
No clue. I've never heard of this one.
I had never heard of this one either.
I wonder if she's about to be a new Joe that's going to get introduced.
Nope. I had to do some digging. But there was a South American company that got a hold of, they got permission. They didn't like steal it or anything, but they got permission to make G.I. Joe figures in South America. And they made 7 of them, including a Snake Eyes that has the Cobra emblem on his chest. They made 7 of them, and they all appear to be about 2nd generation G.I. Joe action figures, maybe 3rd. I'm not positive they had the swivel arm battle grip, right? But she was one of the 7 characters from the South American G.I. Joe figures in the early 80s or mid 80s.
Wow.
So this is a super deep cut, and you can tell because her code name is Glenda. Like, what the heck kind of a code name is that? So no, it's not a new character, Jay. That character is close to 40 years old. Just none of us ever knew her because she wasn't canon. She was this South American G.I. Joe. They made 7 action figures, which apparently are very hard to find and are worth a ton of money. At Joe Fest a few months ago, somebody had a complete set of these figures, and I'm not even talking mint on the card. I'm talking they were in the little plastic cases. A complete set of all 7 of those figures, they were selling for $10,000. That's how rare they are.
Yeah, we gotta look to see what's on sale.
But dude, skip the sale. Go up to the new figures they put out. You showed the desert camo snake eyes.
Oh yeah.
Look, skip that one. Go down to the Cobra Eel. Because that's just
sold out
awesome.
quick.
Look at this. Look at this. They went on sale with this, and I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. They had 81 available. 81. Look at this action figure. It's great.
Wasn't it
wasn't
it like a special membership sale on top of that?
Yeah. You had to be a premium member to have access to it. But look at that. Oh man, I always loved that action figure. In the original, just something about the way he looked, I always thought was great. And they just came out with Torpedo in the last set of Joes that they did. So now they have him. So they're building out some of those characters. The Tunnel Rat looks great too. That's the original Tunnel Rat. They had already come out with the Tiger Force version of Tunnel Rat. But they hadn't come out with the original color scheme, so I'm glad to see them come out with that one. I'm a total nerd in my total nerd world. But yeah, that's interesting stuff.
I really need to get off this website, Josh.
Just sidle on over there and back you that Dragonfly helicopter.
No, but wait a minute. There is a website we need to get on.
What's that?
Habam.
The Circle website? This is a great website. Look at that.
Yep. We have got a new design up. It is the OG Haven Comics logo. With, I can't remember what all products, because this one took forever to get approved.
Because the black and white nature of it? That's weird.
I don't know. It just took forever to get approved. I was actually surprised how good it looks with that color right there. Just the black and white logo.
Well, the black and white pops on just about any color, so that works well.
Yep. What else did we have? We got some kids' tees. Come on, Ryan Williams. You know them.
I gotta say, that kids' tee, the yellow one, that kind of smacks of the old Batman logo, and I totally dig it.
Yep. I even went ahead and got some socks.
Oh, we need some socks.
I think
Is that a pillow?
Yep, a pillow.
We need to get Dustin Ellis wearing one of these bad boys.
Yeah, we do. Get him to wear one on their stream.
That's right. How's it supposed to be like this? Is that the thing now?
You got a rap album coming out?
You know I do.
There is the link to the website. We've even got duffel bags. But it was... So basically there are 3 different styles. We've got the OG logo. We've got the new logo for the YouTube channel and what's actually out front at Haven. And then we've got the Shop Talk logo. So
and you can also get bandanas for your do-rag or for your dog.
Yes, you can.
That's our dog, Rosie. That's our dog, Jack. Look at that. Get you them bandanas.
So, and hey, the beautiful thing about this shop is it is open 24/7. So y'all get in there. You've got time.
That's true. That's true. Get in there. Get you something. We've had a lot of people asking for shirts and all kind of things and all kind of different styles. And it's hard to stock those kinds of things because you end up just with a horde of like small shirts or something that nobody can wear because you ran out of mediums and 2XLs. But this way, we don't have to maintain a stock of them. You get what style you want, and I can vouch for it. I'm going to tell you. Yeah, you can get an apron. Stand out there at the grill, do some cooking with your Haven apron. I don't order a lot of clothes online and things like this because I'm a big dude and they don't generally fit me. I've got 2 shirts. I got a Shop Talk shirt and a Haven shirt. It's a good quality shirt. The colors are good. The size is good. It's comfy. Hard to go wrong. It's good stuff. So I also got the hat. I got bandanas for the dogs. I got my wife a shirt. She was wearing hers the other day. Good stuff. You can get the black and white logo, the colored logo, or the Shop Talk logo.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind these are print to order. So and I know a couple people that have ordered. Josh and I both ordered. Another guy I know has ordered, and from the time you order to the time it's actually in your hands, I would say roughly a week and a half.
Yeah, on the outside.
Yeah, I didn't think that was really that bad when it comes to print to order stuff like that.
No, not at all. Bill, I'm 100% in agreement with you. I don't mind if they do something like that, and I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I'm okay with them both being available. Like I said, 2 scoops of ice cream. I don't mind putting them in a big old waffle cone. I just don't want to. I don't want to swirl. I want them to be 2 scoops. I want them to be different. Tie-dyes are pretty awesome. The tie-dyes, and I like the jersey style shirts too.
Yep.
Those are always good. They just don't make those in my size, which is heartbreaking. I wish they did. See, in that one shirt there, you wear that shirt, you get muscles. Comes with it.
Well, if that's
I do also appreciate, I'm going to be honest, scroll up a little bit. I appreciate that they put a chunky dude in that shirt, and so you can see how it fits on a chunky dude.
Yep.
I appreciate that because I'm a chunky dude, and I'm like, there you go. That's how that fits. So, should we go ahead and announce who we're going to have on the show here 2 weeks from today?
I think we should.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We have got a guy. I've been reaching out to folks, and we've got a lot of people tentatively scheduled for different dates to come on the show. And we're working on actual dates for these folks. But I wanted to talk to this person in particular because it just felt like the time was right. So I reached out, and he said, yes, you know what? I'll be happy to come on your show. So I have got none other, and this is going to be on the show on June 29th. We have Mr. John Ostrander coming on the show. And if you're saying, well, gee, I know that name. Where do I know that name? We're talking about the guy who wrote Suicide Squad. He wrote Star Wars. He created Oracle, or co-created Oracle, from the Batgirl character for Barbara Gordon, which was fantastic. He has been around in comics for a long, long time. He has written all kinds of things, but he wrote a lot of Star Wars. Star Wars Clone Wars, Star Wars Tales, Star Wars Republic, Star Wars Purge, Star Wars Legacy, various Star Wars Jedi books, Star Wars Boba Fett, Agent of Doom. I mean, tons of Star Wars books. He has written Batman, Batman Chronicles, Batman Gotham Knights. If you guys remember, Batman Gotham Knights, the original 4-issue limited series, was excellent back in, 91, 92, 93, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yep.
So good. He's written tons of Batman books, Elseworld books, Green Lantern books, JLA books.
Firestorm.
The Spectre. He wrote Firestorm. Yeah, he's written a ton of books all over the place. Fantastic guy. Incredible creator with a insane track record on comics. And he is going to come on this show and talk to us about comics and his career and what all he's got going on. So that's going to be a fun one. They're really looking forward to that.
Oh, and Nick, don't even start. I sent you and Dustin both a link on Instagram earlier. You could have been on this entire time. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to this one.
Yep, and we've got several others that are lined up. We just have got to get the dates that work for their calendars. But we've got some really incredible people that we're going to be talking to, and I'm excited about it. So, yes, 2 weeks from today, Mr. John Ostrander, and wowzers, it's going to be great. While we're talking about it, a week from tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but a week from Saturday, is Free RPG Day all across the country. That is free role-playing game day. You're not going to get a fire or rocket propelled grenade. They're not handing those out. But yes, that's right, Nick. He will be at Heroes Con. So you can say hi to him and all that. Be nice. Be polite.
Are you packing a Haven or a Shop Talk shirt? If not, you've already failed at Heroes Con.
Tragic. Absolutely tragic. But anyway, free RPG Day is going to be a lot of fun. We've got, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the game Dungeon Crawl Classics. It's kind of an old school D&D game. By old school, I mean like the original D&D setting kind of thing, where if a peasant like smacks you in the face, you die because you only have 1 hit point when you start. That kind of thing. So that is coming up. So Rusty's going to be running that. Kaylisa's going to be running an introduction to D&D, primarily targeted at like teenagers. So if you've got a kid who's always kind of wanted to learn how to play D&D, that'd be a great intro to the game for them. Who else? We've got Mark Knight is going to be running Call of Cthulhu. Tots is going to be running Honey Heist again. So if you want to play that, Christine May is going to be running a Dread game. In Dread, instead of rolling dice, you have a Jenga tower. And if you want to do something hard, maybe you have to pull 1 from the Jenga tower. If you want to do something really, really hard, you have to pull 2 or maybe even 3 from the Jenga tower. So the tension mounts at the table on that game. Just everybody's like, because the Jenga tower is going to fall and it's going to just destroy everything. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's going to be a really fun game. We're going to have a food truck there. We're going to have our friend Zesto AF, a Huntsville restaurant from way back in the day that has reopened as a food truck. So really looking forward to that. They have dip dogs and onion rings and things like that. Good people. And we are also going to have, we're going to be selling snow cones as a fundraiser for a mini pig rescue. And yes, I said that, mini pig rescue. We talked to a lady at Concay who runs the rescue. She is going to have one of her pigs with her. His name is Dexter. He's cool. And she's going to be bringing a few piglets as well. So that's going to be fun. Bring your kids, come hang out, pet some pigs. They're cute, they're fun, they're cuddly, they're smart. It's going to be a good time. So come out, play some games, get some free stuff, support a cool local organization that's helping. Like, people get pigs for pets and things, and then they don't realize that, you know what, they're actually pigs. And they're going to get bigger than they thought they would. So they end up getting dumped off in places, and it's not very good. So that's because people are awful. So this lady rescues these pigs and takes care of them, and it takes money to do that. So come buy a snow cone, make a donation, get yourself a dip dog, get yourself some onion rings. It's going to be a great day, and we want to see you guys all on the 24th. So put it on your calendars. We're going to be sending out an invite, setting up an event and sending out an invite here in a little bit. But it's going to be a good day, and we want you all to come out and enjoy it. Soapbox, throwing it back out of the way now.
All right.
Anything you want to close up with for the day?
Yes, I've got 3 things I want to close with, and we're going to be quick about these. Matt Posey hit the nail on the head earlier when he said, I'm a salesman, but I really and truly want to make sure that y'all understand what's going to happen next week on New Comic Book Day.
Uh-oh.
So check this out right here. Nightwing issue 105. Why is this issue important and why do you need to read it? Because the entire issue will be drawn from Nightwing's perspective. You will see everything through his eyes. What's not cool about that? We definitely got to check that out and see how they're going to do that.
I hope he doesn't have to pee.
I hope he doesn't either. We don't need to see Little Grayson. Next up, that's coming out next. Oh, you piece of junk, you jumped on me. That's coming out next week. Wonder Woman issue 800.
Yep. Tom King.
Yes, Tom King. Y'all know we're going to be talking about this. I know several people that have been looking forward to Tom King taking over this book. I've talked to I know of at least 5 people that are looking forward to seeing what he's doing with it. So do not miss out on grabbing this book next week. Make sure you leave me a copy. And then last but not least, the 3rd book that we need to care about next week. I saw it a minute ago. Where's it at? And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm probably buying 2 copies of this, and I'm sending one to Dustin Ellis because I know that he just will not pick it up otherwise. But Godzilla, Here They Be Dragons. It's Godzilla and pirates. What is not to love about that?
Yeah, that's 100% awesome.
So, yes, by IDW, we know that they don't put out trash. They put out some good stuff. So those are 3 books that we need to be looking for next week. And that was the 3 things I wanted to cover real quick.
Well done. That was quick, it was decisive, and it was informative. I appreciate that.
Unlike the last hour and 46 minutes we've been going.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. Hope you guys have a great week. Come on out to Haven, pick up your comics. Matt, apparently we're going to be adding a lot of stuff to your box. Brother, we'll take care of you. If you're going to Heroes Con, have a great time. Nick, you got to pick up a cool person's autograph for me or something. Something cool from a cool comic book creator. Let me stipulate. Must be a cool comic book creator. Bring me something back. That's homework for you. So I think, Alan, it's only fitting that you play us out with that G.I. Joe song.
He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra and Destro, fighting to save the day. He never gives up. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe is there.